All right, what's up, everybody? There was a tweet by Rainn Wilson, who is the actor best known for his role of Dwight on The Office. And Rainn Wilson is a man who I've known about for a while as being a very left-leaning progressive person. He's definitely not somebody that you would consider right-wing. He's not conservative. He's not a very traditionally like right-wing type person. He's a Hollywood actor. He's a Hollywood elite. That's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles on that one. But he came out with this tweet on March 11th saying, "I do think there's an anti-Christian bias in Hollywood. As soon as the David character in The Last of Us started reading from the Bible, I knew that he was going to be a horrific villain. Could there be a Bible-reading preacher on a show who is actually loving and kind?" And unfortunately, a lot of people took this tweet as him endorsing Christianity, which couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, the reality is, Rainn Wilson himself is not specifically like religious. He's definitely into some like spiritual stuff, some of more like the Taoism, Buddhism kind of stuff. Not a very like traditionally conservative religious guy. He's just pointing out that in The Last of Us, they have a character apparently who's a preacher who obviously is going to be the villain, and it's kind of one of those things. It's like a trope that's kind of getting worn out at this point. Like, can't you make somebody else the villain? Why is it always got to be the straight white man? So again, conservatives, just like they always do, they clamored to this guy going, "Oh, look, he's one of us now. He's on our side." And it's like, no, it's exactly the same thing. Like when Bill Maher comes out and says some pretty based stuff, or like when Russell Brand, who is definitely not a conservative, has some pretty, solid opinions. Or like Jeffree Star, when he came out and was saying how the pronoun thing was just a bunch of crap. Conservatives are so desperate to get like some sort of like celebrity, opinion on their side that they're willing to overlook an entire body of work, an entire life of experience from people who are antagonistic towards, if not outright hate conservatives. So anyways, Rainn Wilson, he went on a couple days later to explain his take on the whole anti-Christian bias. And so he went on to say, "Here's a couple of funny things about the anti-Christian bias in Hollywood. My opinion tweet was picked up as front page news by Fox News. Talk about bias. An organization created as a corporate shield to create division solely for profit based on culture war outrage. Print that." He goes on to say, "Also, I'm not even a Christian. Of course, it's true that the evangelical/political coalition is doing a great deal of damage to our country. Banning books, banning freedoms, denying inconvenient science, taking a grotesque anti-LGBTQ plus platform. But most Christians that I know are kind, accepting, and loving, and seeking to make the world a better place. They should also be honored in the media." So right here, Rainn Wilson's saying, the Christians that I like, i.e. people who are not actually devout, conservative, traditional, religious Christians, are the people that he endorses. Those are the ones that he's like, oh yeah, these people are cool. But any Christian who actually, lives their beliefs and speaks out, they're just these awful culture war obsessed, right-wing radical, maniacs. So you can even just look a little bit through his Twitter feed within the last month and a half, and it'll give you plenty of examples of how he's first of all not a big brain. He's not a very big brain thinker. He's very much, he looks at things through the lens of wokeism, through his Hollywood elite status, which is 100% predictable. Like things about quarterback Lamar Jackson getting screwed by collusion in the NFL, when the reality is he hasn't been healthy for about a third of his last 2 seasons and is going to cost the team an arm and a leg. But, he wants to spin it as some sort of racism among NFL owners. I mean, clearly you have right here where he has the Idiot's Guide to Climate Change. Again, something that has been proven to be happening naturally for thousands of years, with or without the help of most human beings. And here you have him linking to an article on Yahoo regarding mass shootings, with a quote from him saying, "Here's an idea, let's do nothing about all the shootings, signed America." Regardless of the fact that most major cities in this country that have the majority of the mass shootings have the most restrictive gun laws in the country. And if you were to actually subtract those cities from the rest of the gun shooting stats for the entire country, gun deaths would drop drastically if you just remove those major cities that have those insanely restrictive gun laws that apparently do no good. Again, those are the kind of takes Rainn Wilson has on Twitter. Obsessing over January 6th with, again, facts that have been proven to be incorrect, things that have been proven to be a narrative that was spun by the media. And yet, regardless of that, here he is on January 6th on the 2-year anniversary of the worst day in our lives. I'm sorry. Wasn't that 3 years ago? I can't remember. 2 years ago. And again, this is just the way things are. People want to come out and say how stunning and brave and based these people are when they have one take, when completely taken out of context even, that seems to support your side or our side, when the reality is there's more layers to it than that. It's deeper than that. Rainn Wilson wasn't saying right-wing Christianity good. Rainn Wilson's saying, oh no, Christianity sucks unless you're those people that are the bleeding heart left-wing, accepting, inclusive, non-religious Christians, in which case then those people are awesome. That's what he was saying. And of course there's an anti-Christian bias in Hollywood. There's an anti-Christian bias in this country. I mean, just look, I saw this article yesterday from Bounding into Comics about how Popcorn Planet host Andy Signor mocks Christianity in bizarre attack on YouTuber Melanie Mack, claims he's only mocking her. And I've gone through the Twitter thread back and forth. The reality is, this is a dude who's pissed that a woman, Melanie Mack, who is an outspoken Christian, had an opinion that the April O'Neil in the new Ninja Turtles was intentionally made to be ugly, unattractive, and of course not representing the original character, who was white and a redhead with a yellow jumpsuit and all that. And he decided that that made her a shitty Christian and an evil person for picking on a cartoon character. I shit you not. Apparently for Andy, that's the sign of whether or not you're a devout religious person, is whether or not you're going to be mean about a cartoon character that you disagree with the aesthetics of, about the design of. And Andy is one of these guys, he's got his own sketchy past. I'm not going to make any accusations, but he's had his own Me Too stuff, which again, that does not mean anything. You're innocent until proven guilty. But there's a lot more. You can dig through his skeletons. He just seems like a scummy dude. Whether or not he's guilty of anything, he's just a scumbag. And the reality is, spend 5 minutes on Twitter, and if you get into any thread that involves morality or politics, inevitably you will have somebody trashing religious people. Those crazy right-wing zealots, those crazy Christian blah blah blah. The reality is, with or without Rainn Wilson pointing it out, of course the anti-Christian bias exists, but people need to stop falling for this hook, line, and sinker that people who are celebrities are on your side. It's crazy. It's completely counterproductive, and you just got to stop. You got to stop falling for it.